Hello and welcome back to another part in our discussion about Stoicism, where we are going over the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. We're making good progress because this is the last section I want to cover of book 11, and there's only book 12 left, and book 12 was pretty short. This was a fairly useless announcement, but I thought it would make it all the same. What I wanted to talk to you about today is a short statement, but one that I find very interesting. Section 29, Book 11. In writing and reading you must learn before you can teach, yet more so in life. This appealed to me because I happen to teach for a living, and I also record videos on Stoicism where I try to expound the principles of Stoicism in hopes that it is useful to some people. So I think the statement "you must learn before you can teach" is actually a very powerful one, and it's also one that seems very obvious, right? Learn before you can teach. Because, how can you teach something, anything, without having learned something? But having said that, I think we live in a day and age where that specific statement is very often forgotten. And I think a lot of people, including people in very powerful places, have an inability to learn and do not learn, but just teach. And often they don't teach in the greatest way either, or they teach in a very ineffective way. They just believe they're being very effective, and they believe they are great teachers or leaders. I just had to get that off my chest. Now, having said that, I think there's much to be said for this. And again, there is a very obvious implication to this statement. If you have not learned enough, if you are not enough of a scholar in whatever topic you are talking about, right, that you are trying to teach, well, then obviously you cannot teach that topic well. Having said that, I have had some professors at university who were incredible scholars with insane publication records, but who were poor teachers. Teaching is not necessarily tied to, in my mind, the knowledge you have. You also have to understand how to break that knowledge down. And I think any teacher, irrespective of their level of experience, can explain a topic within their field. And it doesn't matter what that is, right? In my case, that happens to be psychology with an emphasis on more cognitive brain things. It can also be teaching someone how to knit or like how to bake cookies. I'm not just talking about academic disciplines. I think any teacher can teach something if they know how to do it. I'm not an expert baker. I could probably teach someone how to bake a cake, like a simple cake or cookies or something, because I know how to do that thing. I'm not saying I would be great at it, but I could probably do that. But I think a great teacher understands not just where their audience is, but also how to get them to where they need to be, and to do so in the most effective manner possible. And that, I think, is what's hard. So I fully agree with the emperor here that, yeah, you should study before you can teach something, obviously. But you also have to develop a feeling for knowing where your audience is, where they need to go, and how to take the audience there. And that, I think, is much harder. And that, I think, is a skill that not everyone accomplishes. I say this from experience. Because I've had teachers who understood the material, but who seemed to be unable to convey it effectively to their students, or at least a large number of their students. And that's not meant as a personal attack. Often, in my case, these were university professors who did a lot of research, and I think their heart was in research, but not in teaching. So they had all the knowledge theoretically, but they just couldn't get it into the students' brains in a way that was efficient. And those are often the types of teachers who don't understand that you don't understand, who don't understand how it is possible that you would not comprehend this thing, because in their mind it's completely clear and so obvious, but they can't take a step back and say, well, you didn't write 40 papers on this, so maybe to you it's not that obvious. Here's what we should do. We're going to take a step back, and we're going to approach it from this direction or something. So that, I think, was the first thing I wanted to say, which is probably not of interest to everyone. But again, teaching happens to be how I make a living. So thinking about that was interesting to me. Having said that, I think we can apply this to a broader context, though. And that is the context of life. You have to learn before you can teach. And I think in an almost allegorical sense, that can be taken to mean you have to go through certain things before you can truly master them. I like to look at people, and I'm not just talking about a teaching context, but in general, I look at people as raw diamonds. And a raw diamond is a very good starting point. But then the diamond needs to be polished. And a master jeweler has to cut the diamond in such a way that the beauty of the diamond comes out. That when you hold it up to the light, it refracts that light in a beautiful way, so you see all those colors. And it's very sparkly and shiny. And I think the duty of teachers at any level of teaching is to help their students do that, to help them polish themselves in such a way that when they leave, they're the best version of themselves they can be. They have the knowledge and the skills, but they have grown. They have learned something. But in all of life, I think that is the case. And I think that we have all had teachers, mentors, friends, family members who have allowed us to do that, who have allowed us to become that version of ourselves. I think it's good once in a while to remember those people and to be grateful. But even if it's not people who have taught you those things, actively or passively, it's life itself that teaches you things. And you have to read and study in life to be able to teach, to be able to be that best version of yourself. You have to go through certain things. And certain things will be unpleasant. But those are the crucial things, though. It's the unpleasant things, the failures, the frustrated attempts, the things that have gone wrong, that I think teach you the most. And in addition to being grateful to your mentors, whoever they may be, I think it is very important to be grateful for your struggles, for the things that have gone wrong. Because in my mind, it's those things that have made you into who you are. And I like to think of struggles I have had. My life has not been perfect. Things have gone wrong. Things have not worked out. Smaller things, bigger things. But it was the succession of all those things that made me into who I am now. And that person I am today is not without flaws, is not perfect, but is a person I really like. And I think that is a vital aspect to be able to enjoy your life, to be able to be happy, to be able to keep the emotional even keel that we have talked about a number of times. It starts with appreciating yourself, understanding that you've been wrong, maybe have been wronged, but that right now you are where you are. And this is your shot. This is the one chance you get. It'd be great if there was a heaven after this and all that, but I'm not convinced there is. So for me, this is my one shot, right? And if I were to waste even a single day, which I've done in the past, that's a day I'll never get back. This is my one shot. So I try to read and learn from all those things that have happened to me. Sometimes the lessons are very painful. But it's through those lessons that you learn most, so that you can become a good teacher. And that's not just a matter of teaching students things. It's a matter of you being a happy person. You becoming the teacher in your own life. Maybe being able to help others. Because the better you understand yourself, the better you know your limitations, your shortcomings, the better you'll be able to interact with others. The happier you will be with others. And that's it. So, I hope this was not too allegorical an interpretation of all this, but I thought it was an interesting thought to me. So I just want to share that. I hope this was useful, and I will gladly see you back next week, where we're going to be talking more about Stoicism. Bye!